Justice Phillips. Justice Phillips is a slave trader who feeds the mental health system people that they abuse, enslave, and induce through intense harassment and psychological abuse, mental stress in order to induce breakdowns. Okay, this is one tactic they use. Another tactic they use is complete, utter contempt of the court, obstruction through lying, complete 360s or 180s on what they're saying, not producing any accusing me of not producing anything when they are restricting everything. The transcripts are preposterously too expensive. Then they solicit to legal aid, which is a violation of my rights. I'd have to apply for a certificate, which would mean the Bar Association would take over the matter to control the narrative in the interest of those who profit off of the slave trade. Beyond that, he was asked to recluse and refused. I at no point consented to him. He then began to attempt to invade my personal finances. And I gave an accurate argument solution to the problem, and it came on deaf ears. The audios have never been released. And he never ordered them released. No comment on that. He said that's not how we do things here, which does not coincide with the policy. This judge behaved in a politically dubious, underhanded manner to flout corruption above the truth and to conceal abuses of process, corruption within the judiciary, corruption within the police forces, corruption within the Ministry of the Attorney General, the Crown Corporation, and there's also been abuses of legalese, trying to gain implied consent.
That's pretty good.
So,
Anything else you can think of?
They are biased because they won't admit that they won't acknowledge the three cameras at the police station. Okay, on another matter, that's an example. They won't acknowledge the GPS on the cruisers. The judges just say they don't know, when it should be able to be confirmed for the courts. If there is, it's been confirmed for me that there is. And then now they're lying about it. They're saying they can't order what they don't know about. But they could always say they don't know. Nobody knows anything for certain until something is tried. They're refusing because I lack the evidence which is needed to prove it, to prove the reason to get it. So it's a circular argument they are pushing. They're pushing a circular argument. If I had the evidence, I wouldn't need the order, and then it would have proved them lying at trial, and they would have lost. But to get the evidence, but the trial was required to get the evidence for them to admit of these GPSs. The trial was required to be done, and there would have been no perjury had I had the GPS. They wouldn't have lied about that, or maybe they would have, but I don't know. But it is a circular argument because to prove the merits of the order, I need the GPS. There's no excuse for the audios to be restricted. This is a judicial cover-up, political judicial cover-up. No. Can I say the names?
Go for it.
Justice Krellings, Police Service Board, City Councilor, blocking restraining orders against police who abuse the public. Constable Jenkins, lying, caught by his GPS, which they're withholding. which they're withholding and perjuring himself in the courts. Hoffman, misconduct in the courts, behaving as a crowd, ignoring facts, harassing, and attempting to using the police during your proceedings to threaten to legally abuse a self-represent. Same things as Justice Phillip. Although they do try to threaten people with mental health captivity. This is slavery. This is segregation. This is corruption, treason, political repression, obstruction of justice. This is the slave trade. The only thing they are manufacturing is consent. And they are they're using the police to threaten people into agreeing to their narratives, their false narratives. So we live in a Gestapo society, a Canadian, ran, corrupted, Gestapo, duplicitous, surreptitious, clandestine society. Next selection, none of these issues will be talked about. None of these issues will be brought forward. It will be the same show that will go on. These abuses are being done to inflame the public, disillusion the public, and eventually cause what should be a revolt, which then they will empower a new body to come deal with what has been designed in the grand scheme. None of the cameras or technology that they manufacture will be of service to us. None of it. The cameras will not stop them. The recordings will not stop them. It will empower them because they are the ones manufacturing behind it. They have vested interests in us fearing to need these things. Fearing to consent. It's the only thing they produce. If you don't believe me, then order all the audios to do with Matthew DeVoe and Ottawa Courthouse, okay? And you'll see that they're all restricted. I believe the appeals to be restricted, although they said no, but I don't believe a word that farts out of their mouth. So we'll have to see if it's restricted. My guess is it will be restricted, but who knows? Maybe I'm wrong about this one. What difference it makes, I don't know. The rest are restricted. If this one's restricted, it would follow suit. But why any of them are, it's obvious. They've committed fraud, judicial fraud.
And they're hiding everything.
Well, they're paranoid of us exercising our rights under 136(2)(b) of the Court of Justice Act because they're committing this judicial fraud to enslave people and segregate people for profit and control. They are paranoid of people recording them committing this fraud. I believe these transcripts aren't going to be produced because they are worried of if somebody has exercised their rights under 136(2)(b) of the Court of Justice Act, this would prove the restriction of the audio proves manipulation of the audios. It proves corruption and manipulation. But they have falsified things. They are able to falsify and altercate things.